Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Perillo, and you've tuned into another live Star Wars Radar video. I tend to talk a lot about Star Wars, and when I'm not talking about Star Wars, I'm reading about Star Wars, I'm watching Star Wars, I'm Star Warsing around. Can I say it that way? I think I just did. You're more than welcome to join us in the Discord chat server. It's open for any one of you to join at any point in time, 24/7, and that discussion is primarily Star Wars. We really haven't veered off topic, which wouldn't be that difficult to do given that I know a great many of people out there in this community love Star Wars, certainly the 48,000 plus people who are following Star Wars Radar on Twitter. I have to give a shout out to White Boba Fett at the top of the video before we dive into today's topic. I got a postcard, a personalized postcard from the username, or the user known as White Boba Fett. Merry Christmas. I had to read it carefully, because sometimes I say Merry Sithmas. I'm not the only one. I did receive this before the Christmas holiday. It says, it's been fun working with you this year. I'm not sure if we worked together. We didn't, go on any, bounty hunting, excursions. But we've certainly been interacting as fellow Star Wars fans in social. Looking forward to seeing how much damage, the good kind, we can do in 2018. Have a great Christmas. Thank you very much, White Boba Fett. I was going to take a picture of this and share it in my Instagram account for Star Wars Radar, but decided to show everybody in this live video instead. Today's topic was the one I was going to cover yesterday, 3 mysteries surrounding Rey's parents, lineage, and or heritage. I was going to cover it yesterday, and then I realized, it was the anniversary of the passing of Carrie Fisher, and decided to do that instead. I don't think anybody was disappointed. So, we now have come to believe through The Last Jedi, that Rey comes from nowhere, which would fit the theme, the overarching theme of what The Last Jedi has effectively thrown out there, suggesting that you don't have to be, a Skywalker to be a great Jedi or to command the Force, something that we saw pretty much throughout the entire film as a motif. But I still feel we've got a couple of mysteries. One, was Kylo misled, and if so, why? Was his suggestion that Rey does come from nowhere, she's a relative nobody, she doesn't belong, she doesn't have a story, she's not a part of the story, this is not her story, was he misled in understanding that? Was it intentional or unintentional? And it's not that I'm holding on to hope, suggesting that Rey comes from somewhere, it's just that I just felt that he was almost building it up in a way that it was something. And maybe he was building it up to just tear it away from Rey and expect that he would be able to better manipulate her. But I've seen in subsequent interviews with Rian Johnson that Kylo believes what it is that he says. What he believes is the truth, and that is Rey comes from nowhere. She has nobody important, in terms of lineage, which could turn out to be true. I don't know yet, so I haven't quite written it off. My question is, was Kylo misled in understanding that, or does he understand something a little more deep than what we've been led to understand about Rey's background? Number 2, and this is a mystery, if she is a quote-unquote nobody, why, and this is a big one, why did Anakin's hilt call to or connect with her, like Luke's lightsaber, right? As we've, known it throughout the years. Why? Why Rey? Why at that point in time? What was there something else that was connecting? Was the Force just, saying, all right, random person, you need to come along to better bring balance to the Force? Something that I actually want to dive a little deeper into, possibly tomorrow. I had a friend, Johnny Worthington, on Twitter, basically going to a tweet, what do they call them? Tweet storms? Great posits that I think warrant further discussion. Really, some intelligible stuff that I've seen a great many people put out there in social, not just, flippant remarks if they didn't happen to like the way The Last Jedi played out. But, if she's a nobody, why? I mean, not why is she a nobody? I think we can figure that out. That's a part of the theme. But why did Luke's saber, Anakin's lightsaber, call to her? Why did it connect with her? Why? There's not, and someone I'm sure can make a leap in logic to better explain why it happened, but I'm curious. That I think warrants a deeper discussion that I really haven't seen surfaced anywhere. I don't know if I have an answer to that question either, apart from knowing that Anakin was a relative nobody. He was nobody. he was a slave boy, potentially, created by the Force. He had no father, an immaculate conception. But Rey is even shrouded in more mystery, in terms of her lineage, and a true relative nobody. We can only know what has been surfaced in terms of intelligence in canon to this point, by and large, through that particular, segment, or the scene in The Last Jedi where Rey and Kylo were effectively talking about it again. But why? Why, as a nobody? Why would that saber call to her? I don't know if I have an answer to that question. It's a mystery to me. And the third mystery, I believe, still surrounding Rey's parents or lineage or heritage is this. And I think this is almost critical to the development of Rey's character. Will knowing her own backstory help her grow as a Jedi or a person, or hinder that growth? Just understanding, because now she said it out loud, I'm a nobody. And Kylo's response was instant, right? But the mystery now remains, is she done with it? Is she moving on? Or is she going to come back to it? And I'm not so sure it's as simple as she's going to move on. I think she's still going to continue to pursue that. And I think that could potentially hinder her development as a person, not the least of which the character, the character we see portrayed in these stories. But this answer that she's been given by Kylo, who I wouldn't necessarily trust as much as she's trusted him, knowing full well what she has seen Kylo do within a span of just a few days, in terms of the what took place in The Force Awakens as well as The Last Jedi. I don't know why she trusts him as much as she seems to. There's a little bit of mystery there, but, again, to see this through, knowing that backstory, will she be willing to let it go? Is she going to, pursue it a little further, or something else going to pop up that will keep her kind of held back in the past, that is counter to what we've seen her character do in the first two films in this trilogy? You might remember Maz Kanata, the belonging you seek is in front of you, not behind you. Other people have been trying to move her along to get her to effectively let go. She said it out loud, but has she really let go? And that, it's a mystery. I don't know if she has. I'm inclined to believe that she has such tenacity that, I believe that, unshackling herself from this burden or this weight of feeling like she comes from this great lineage, or that her story is much more, I guess, dramatic, pronounced, pivotal than it may have been. I don't know if she's going to give up. And I think we're going to see a lot of exploration by Rey, if not in the final film in this trilogy, which may very well be the end that we see of Rey. I think we're going to see something maybe even later in Rey's life in canon, whether that would be through a book or a comic arc, most likely, where she does have a chance to kind of put these things to bed. And I don't think she's put them to bed yet. And I know I'm not the only person who believes that. It would shock me if she decided, okay, that's what I was told and I'm going to move on. Because I wouldn't believe Kylo. She has no reason to believe Kylo, no reason to trust Kylo. Every reason to mistrust him. Even if she says it out loud. The Force, through what was revealed to her on Octu, in the depths of the island, she saw a reflection of herself. I don't know if the Force is ready to tell her where she came from. Maybe Anakin's saber called to her because she comes from nowhere. It's possible she was, much like Anakin, effectively born of midichlorians. And by the way, there's a further conversation we can have on midichlorians. Someone posited on Twitter, and we'll break this down here in the next couple of days as well, and I'll just basically read almost verbatim from the Twitter threads, suggesting that The Last Jedi pretty much helped the whole idea of midichlorians make more sense. And at first when I saw that thread, I'm like, what? But of course, as the thread progressed on Twitter, I was like, that's pretty smart. It's a good perspective. That's what I like talking about, these kinds of things. I don't just take them at face value. I want to, go a little deeper. So I think there's still a lot of mystery surrounding, Rey's lineage. I'm not clinging to something saying, oh, she has to come from somewhere. But to me, it raises more questions than it answers. which I don't mind. I like a little bit of mystery in my life. One mystery I don't have is knowing that I've got a few Star Wars objects on my desk, including the 2018 Date of Time calendar. I have 2 of them, if only because I'm going to hold on to this one. The box has Vader on it, and I tend to chase Vader collectibles. But I do have one that we are actually going to try to use every day. Sometimes it's a bit of a challenge with the 3-year-old around, but to be able to rip off a page a day will be kind of fun with Jedi. We'll get some reading in. We'll learn a little bit of Star Wars trivia and get a nice little picture she can play with, at least until she destroys it. I also happen to have picked up for a couple bucks on Amazon General Hugs. That's his name to me now, General Hugs. And I wanted General Hugs, not just because of the figure, not just because it was cheap. But, I have one that I'm going to be keeping inside the packaging. This one, I really want to open for what General Hugs comes with. And that would be, if you did not know, much like with the Galen Urso, if you were able to find him from the previous waves from Rogue One, a mouse droid. A mouse droid. A little figure. Nice little bonus. I'm glad they put this with Hux. I'm not sure if that's necessarily driven any more sales of General Hux as a figure, but I'd say these bonus droids can't hurt. Patron Earl Green sent me the one thing on my wish list, the Jawa from it was a few series ago that came with one of the what would you call it? One of the droids from the Sandcrawler, the trading of the droids there on Tatooine. When 3PO and R2 went to the Owen Lars homestead. Either way, I got General Hugs. Did not come with Maleficent. Not surprised. But happy to finally unboxed or removed from the packaging a General Hugs. That's not what they wrote here. They wrote down General Hux, not Hugs. I also happen to have picked up on sale again, and I'm very glad to have taken advantage of, all the sales that I'm able to find. A Mosep Benid, one of Jabba's denizens. Love these characters and creatures. Part of one of the Final Black series carded like this. And I know I've got another one, but I can't help but want to remove Mosep Benid from this particular package, if only because I love the card there. Mosep Benid. You know what I needed to do with this Hux? Is get batteries inserted into my Force Link reader, and I didn't do that, if only because Hux has a blue mark on the bottom, and then have him talk. I need to do this. After today's live video, I will put batteries in. There's no such thing on the mouse droid, although the wheels are independent, so it will roll around. Too bad we don't hear the squeaks of the mouse droid, or I don't think we will be able to. So, either way, something old, something new, something theoretical. Always a bunch of fun when you hang out with me live during these broadcasts. I see we have a handful of people who have tuned in. Someone suggests in the comments, if J.J. Abrams ends up retconning that Rey's parents were nobodies, I will be severely disappointed. Well, I'm not going to hold my breath. At all. Will not. And in case Kenobi53 there in the chat was wondering, dang it, Chris, now I'm only going to call him General Hugs. I'm not the person who started it. Blame Poe. This is apparently canon. He did call him General Hugs there at the beginning of the Last Jedi. Can't wait to see it again. I've only seen it twice, so I can share all the spoilers I want. My Mosep Benid is probably going to be standing on my Jabba shelf. I happen to have one. I have several figure shelves, but I'm a huge fan of Star Wars figures. What are you going to do? So stay tuned for more Star Wars stuff, as I mentioned. You can join us in Discord chat 24/7. Anything goes. We really don't have subgroups at this point in time, but it's been great to connect with other people. People, they post things in there, and it's all Star Wars related, fellow Star Wars fans from around the world. Very, very happy to have connected with everybody there. So I'm going to go ahead and let everybody go. But of course, as I'm prone to say at the end of every one of these live videos, I love you. I appreciate you. And at this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. May the Force be with you.